Hello! In today's video, I'm going to sculpt a character bust of the Thing. No, not that thing. Not Man Thing. Not Swamp Thing. Yep, Marvel's the Thing. We'll get started right after this. So I have everything set up and ready to go. I've got the tools and the clay I need. I downloaded a few reference pictures of the Thing. I really like this comic picture. I also like the Funko Pop design because it's another stylized version, and a few other pictures of the Thing. And the reason why I want that stylized version of the Funko Pop is because I'm going to do this in my own style. So I'm doing this as my new Bust Buddies character bust. I've already pre-sculpted and pre-baked this base for it. If you want to see how I do those, you can check out my first video in this series where I sculpted my mascot, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. So for the Thing, I'm going to use orange and gray granite for his main body. So I'm going to mix those up together. That gray granite has a lot of specks in it, and that gives that rock appearance. So I thought that would be perfect to mix in with my orange. And what I'm going to do is I've got one that has quite a bit mixed in, and then I'm going to take some more base orange and mix a little bit of the gray granite orange mixture with it. So I have it so it doesn't have as many specks in it. So you'll see here the two differences in the oranges. But now that I've got orange all over my hands, I'm going to wash that off so I don't get that on my base. So I'm going to make a bunch of little rock shapes, and I've got those reference pictures off to the side here. And I'm going to use that to kind of not match up, but do the same general body texture that he has, where he has varying sizes of rocks and little pebbles on him. Now, I thought about doing it this way where I could carve into it and do the lines, which would be a lot easier, but I didn't like this look as much as doing individual rock pieces. So sometimes it's best just to take a little extra time with your piece and you'll get much better results with it. So I'm back to sculpting this. I'm going to go with the same V shape I did in my last video. And if you, like I said, if you haven't seen that, I will put a link to that at the end of this video. Otherwise, just stay tuned and you'll see how this little guy turns out. So I'm just going to keep adding little pieces, varying the size and shape of each one because I don't want it to look uniform. I don't want them to be symmetrical in the pattern. I just want it to be all these random pieces of rock. So I went ahead and covered the front and the back. Went up to his shoulder areas. Like I said, I like this triangular shape to the look of it to go over that character base that I pre-sculpted. Now I'm going to go over his face. So one thing, looking at the reference pictures that I noticed, is his jaw sticks out more. Than his lower jaw sticks out more, and so I wanted to represent that in my sculpture. And to do that, I decided to add some more black clay to my base, and then I will just sculpt more rocks on top of that. So this black clay matches up with his upper lip area, and now I can add some more clay on top of everything, and it'll bulk out and give him that lower jaw jutting out. So before I get to that, I'm going to go ahead and sculpt the rest of the rocks that go around his head. And I'm going to circle around his eyes so I have a nice deep eye socket. I do have a little bit of an eye socket already sculpted onto that character base, but I wanted to make sure that has a little more depth, and I'm going to go ahead and sculpt these rocks around it. So now that I have all those done, I'm going to go ahead and sculpt over that lower jaw. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him this kind of triangular shape, pieces of rock to be his lower lip, and then I'll fill in that rest of the black area with some more little varying sizes of orange clay to represent his rocky texture build, or whatever you want to call it, on his lower jaw. So we'll get that in there, smooth it in. Sometimes I'll use my knife tool to cut little small pieces of clay off to make little pebbles to fill in the gap. And then I want to smooth it in right at that neckline so I don't have a big gap and have a lot of the black showing through. So I'm really happy with how this guy looks so far, so I want to go ahead and do the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands again, get them nice and clean. And for the eyes, I'm going to use white and pearl mixture, which I already have mixed up from a previous project. So I'm just going to soften that up some to make sure it's ready to be sculpted for the eyes. Now I'm going to roll it out, cut it in half. I want to have two roughly equal sizes, roughly equal amount of clay. Roll them into balls, and then push them into the eye sockets. So I do on these characters have their eyes stick out a little bit. And now I want to take some blue clay, because the thing has blue eyes. And I want to roll out a couple of circles to put in the center. Now that I'm going to just get those adjusted. Once I'm happy with those, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands again before I switch over to my white pearl mixture again. And this is for that like light reflection in his eyes that you see. And so I'm going to do a bigger dot on the lower portion and then smaller dots kind of on the upper right section of each eye. Now when I'm done with that, I'm going to sculpt his nose. So I'm going back to the orange gray granite mixture, and then I'm going to sculpt his eyebrows. The thing is very dominant eyebrows. I wanted to try to get this guy to look a little bit angry, so I shaped out the eyebrows and then cut them into sections, and then I attach them, just give him a little bit of pressure, attach them onto his forehead. So I'm just going to go over each one, kind of smooth it out. I don't want them to look like they're cut into pieces. Even though I cut them into pieces, I want to smooth out those edges a little bit so they look more like little rocks. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm taking a big ball tool and going over the entire sculpture to give it a little indentions so these rocks aren't totally smooth or flat. They have a little bit of a texture to it. I love adding texture to sculptures. I think it's a lot of fun, makes them a lot more interesting, and adds a lot more, character to them. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's how I feel. It just makes the sculpture more interesting. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add my initials and the year. And then I think this guy is all ready to be baked. So the last thing I'm going to do is clean off my tools. It's something I don't ever mention, but I thought I would share it with you to clean them off so that way they're ready to go for the next sculpture. Now I'm going to go ahead and bake this guy according to package instructions. And here is the finished Bust Buddies version of The Thing. I had a lot of fun making this guy. He's somebody I've wanted to do some version of for a long time because I really wanted to sculpt that rocky skin of his. So I thought it'd be fun to do him in my new style of character busts. If you have characters you want to see in this style, please leave it in the comments down below. I have a lot of ideas already, and there's a lot of ideas I've gotten from viewers, and there's a lot of ideas of characters I've just wanted to sculpt. So you're going to see a mixture of stuff I want to do and stuff that viewers have suggested that have inspired me. Now, if you want to be part of the creative process, be sure to join my Facebook group. So if you search for Andrew's Creation Club on Facebook, and just click join. Once I get it, I'll read through it and approve you, as long as you're not some spam thing. So that's a way you can help decide what this channel becomes. I've had a lot of great input from viewers that way, so it's a good way for me to communicate with them. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video, and remember, never stop creating. Bye! If you want to see how I make the base for my character busts, be sure to check out my mascot character bust video. Also, if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell so you know when I post a new video. I try to post at least one video a week.